Now, graduates, you all look very subdued. Are you happy to be graduating? Yes. Family and friends of the graduates, are you happy that they're graduating? So I ask you, graduates, who is more relieved, you or your family? Well, certainly, as you've heard, your family are not only relieved, but I think they're also very proud of you. And you have every right to be proud of yourselves. And you should know that those of us who work at Brock, represented here on the platform and over here, are also very proud of you, because today represents not only the culmination of your work, but in very real terms, it represents the culmination of our work as well. So we share in the joy and pride that your family and friends feel, and that we hope you feel as well, despite your less than enthusiastic reaction. Now, graduation looks like a very formal event, very ritualized, and of course it is. We march in, first the graduates and then the members of the platform party, to largely late 18th century music. And we were all dressed in the height of fashion for the 16th century. But despite the formality and ritual, I want you all to know that today is a day of celebration. And we expect you to behave as if it's a day of celebration. So it's all right to hoot and holler and whistle and stamp your feet and call out, and to recognize your friend or your loved one as he or she crosses the stage in order to receive their diploma. And therefore, we'll have a practice run to get everyone in the mood on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Enjoy Convocation.
It is my pleasure to introduce Ms. Christine Freudenthaler, member of the Board of Trustees, who will present the Spirit of Brock Medal. Ms. Freudenthaler has served on the board since 2012 and is currently chair of the board's Capital Infrastructure Committee. She brings a wealth of business and volunteer experience to the university. She is an accomplished business leader with 30 years of expertise in technology, supply chain, and general management in both Canada and the US, and is the past Senior Vice President, Technology and CIO at Canadian Tire Corporation Limited. She holds a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration from the University of Phoenix and is a past faculty member of York University's Schule Executive Education Program. Join me in welcoming Ms. Christine Freudenthaler.
Dr. Lightstone, honored guests, faculty, staff, and graduates. The Board of Trustees recognizes the commitment, dedication, and sacrifice that it takes to become a graduate of Brock University. We take great pride in your achievements and share with you and your family in the celebration of your success. As part of this celebration, the Board of Trustees created a unique award in order to pay tribute to the outstanding achievements and contributions of graduating students. During the spring convocation, the Board of Trustees' Spirit of Brock Medal will be awarded to an undergraduate and graduate student who best exemplify the spirit of Sir Isaac Brock. Students who demonstrate any one of the qualities of leadership, courage, innovation, inspiration, and community involvement have been recommended to receive the award by the respective faculty dean. Today, I have the honor to present the Brock Board of Trustees Spirit of Brock Medal to the Faculty of Social Science graduate, Paul Adachi. I've asked Paul to stay on the stage while I say a few nice things about him. Paul Adachi is graduating with a PhD from the psychology department. In addition to his academic success over the course of his graduate studies, he has 12 published papers, was the recipient of the Jack Miller Research Excellence Award in 2014, the Distinguished Graduate Award in 2011, and has just been awarded an extremely prestigious Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council's Banting Postdoctoral Fellowship. Paul has exhibited the characteristics, specifically leadership, innovation, and inspiration, that best exemplify the spirit of Brock. With respect to leadership, Paul has taught, mentored, and supervised undergraduate students and helped fellow graduate students, particularly assisting them with statistics and writing of grant applications. These leadership skills have been recognized with an invitation to join a journal's editorial board and have been recognized with an invitation to join a journal's editorial board and a Young Investigators Award at European Conference. Paul's research is innovative and has led to a new direction in the literature that examines video games and aggression, particularly looking at the effect of intergroup cooperation on reducing prejudice. This work has attracted the attention of not only the academic community, but also the news outlets for its potential social importance. Finally, Paul's hard work has served as an inspiration to young researchers in his field. All three of his honor students have been inspired to take up the challenge of pursuing further studies and have been accepted into graduate programs. Once again, please join me in congratulating Paul Adachi. Thank you very much.
Brock University and the Faculty of Social Sciences takes great pride in the high quality of teaching exhibited by our faculty members. It gives me great pleasure to invite Paul Hamilton from the Department of Political Science to receive this year's Brock University Faculty Award for Excellence in Teaching. I now take pleasure in inviting Professor Paul Hamilton to deliver the Convocation address.
President Lightstone, Provost McCarthy, members of the Platform Party, graduands, and guests, I accept this honor with great humility and great gratitude. It's a remarkable thing to be honored by your university, your peers, and all those who supported my application or my nomination for this award. I know some of you are probably thinking, I thought I was done with that guy. I'm assuming some of you probably had my first year course at some point in the last couple of years. But don't be discouraged. This will not take long. It will be as brief as many Hollywood careers. It is a great honor for me to accept this. And I saw something on the news the other day that kind of rang true with me, and just stick with me for a minute. I was watching CNN and they were interviewing Mike Huckabee, who many of you will know, former governor of Arkansas, currently running for the Republican nomination for president. And he was asked about his previous success in Iowa campaigning. And he had this really funny line, I thought. He said, you know, if you ever see a turtle on top of a fence post, the one thing you know is that he didn't get there by himself. That rang true to me. That was funny, by the way. That rang true for me because I didn't get here by myself. None of you got here by yourself. And it's important to acknowledge our gratitude. In my case, to my parents, my late father and mother. My mother's actually right there, funny enough. And all of the support they gave me to get through graduate school. You know how hard it is to get a degree. And I had this support, and it helped me very much. So thank you, Mom. I also want to thank my colleagues and my professors. I was a Brock student. I graduated from Brock in 1990, almost to the day, 25 years ago, June 4th, 1990. And my teaching is a reflection of the teaching I received, of the models that I had, the mentors, the very great teachers that we have here at Brock. And all of you know now at the opposite end of your degree process, you know how valuable teaching is at Brock, how in what esteem it's held, and what great teachers we have. So in that context, it's an enormous honor for me to accept this. I should say too, I also want to thank all of the great TAs I've had. Teaching assistants do a lot of the work at the university, as many of you will know, and I could not look good without their great work. All right, so let me get to my convocation address. For me, as I mentioned, it seems like yesterday, 25 years ago at Brock, like you now, waiting for someone I never heard of to stop talking. Unlike today, though, 1990 was a little bit different, I think. It was a little more optimistic. The Cold War was wrapping up. There was this naive idea held by many that all the money spent on nuclear weapons might now be channeled towards curing disease, alleviating poverty, this kind of thing. But it didn't go quite that way. And I think we now live in tense times. There's fear everywhere. Fear of terrorism, fear of epidemics, fear of renewed superpower rivalries around the world. There is even, and I hate to say it, I just read this the other day, fear of a second Entourage movie. In these troubled times, what can I possibly offer to you as a potential remedy to cure the ills of our day? Well, I have a suggestion. I think we need to embrace our inner Spock. Yes, I said Spock. On February 27th of this year, the world witnessed the passing of Leonard Nimoy. By all accounts, a wonderful man. He left us with this incredible legacy, this pop culture icon of Spock, the half-human, half-Vulcan science officer on the Star Trek Enterprise. Almost everyone, I think, in the world would recognize the character of Spock. Spock, the logical foil to his impulsive and emotional captain, played by the awesome William Shatner, on Star Trek, a show that I cannot believe will celebrate its 50th anniversary next year. Wow, I feel old. Despite its brief time on NBC for 3 years, it has become a major global phenomena with all of the Star Trek movies, references to Spock in TV shows like The Big Bang Theory. Spock is a symbol now, a symbol of discipline, of virtue, of rationality. I happened to read this yesterday. The International Astronomical Union, a couple of days ago, named an asteroid 4864 Nimoy, after Leonard Nimoy. It is orbiting the sun between Mars and Jupiter. He's even on our $5 bill. Spock has many virtues. He's a Star Trek science officer, or Starfleet, I should say. That's not easy. Hard to get into Starfleet. Some of you will know. He's a person of intellect. He is intensely loyal to his captain and crew. You may recall him in the first season of Star Trek, kidnapping his former captain, Pike, and transporting him to Talos 4. I believe that was the name of the planet, where and for doing so, he would face an almost certain death sentence. That's the kind of loyalty that Spock had. He's spiritual. Sometimes you can see him meditating in his quarters. He's humble too. Like me, probably one of the more humble people around. There you go. Of course, Spock wasn't always serious and intellectual. He could kick butt when necessary. And as you may recall, once jammed with a group of space hippies in the lounge of the Enterprise. But for me, of all of his virtues, the one we need more of in these times is his dedication to reason. Reason is both a verb and a noun. It refers to a kind of evidence-based thought process that informs our arguments and worldviews. And of course, this should be intuitively familiar to all of you who have spent the last 4 years writing papers with theses, assembling evidence, making arguments, and drawing appropriate conclusions. Reason, though, is not just a private mental exercise that we do academically. It is also part of a process of public deliberation. As Michael Lynch argues in his book In Praise of Reason, it must also be a public and transparent way of showing our work. If you recall this from elementary school, it wasn't enough to give the right answer. You had to actually show how you got the correct math answer. Public reason is like that. We can't simply assert a policy preference. We need to explain it and show how we came to that conclusion. From ancient Greece to the Enlightenment, philosophers have championed reason. It is through reason that we reach the very best decisions and advance our collective welfare. Reason demands that we engage in dialogue, not monologue, and not try to stifle debate or silence alternative views. But we live in an unreasonable world. Carl Sagan referred to this in his 1996 book as the demon-haunted world. That book, by the way, is free. Any of you could go read it today. It's a free ebook, and I highly recommend it. A world where knowledge and reason have to compete with superstition, conspiracy, and prejudice. Look around. Anti-vaccine crusaders terrify parents who refuse to vaccinate children for fear of autism. This despite the fact that there is no evidence to support a causal link between the MMR vaccine and autism. The consequences of this are very serious. Outbreaks of measles in the last year or two are a consequence of intelligent people rejecting reason and refusing to vaccinate their children. This despite the fact, and it's available for anyone to see, that the only study linking vaccines to autism was fully retracted by the journal Lancet in 2010 because of a variety of fundamental flaws in the research. We live in a world where religious demagogues lure young people to fight in Syria and Iraq, where politicians in the highest offices deny climate change and the enormous body of science that forecasts serious consequences for our planet, where our government here in Canada stifles and silences scientists, where the internet has become an incubator of conspiracy theory, where racism continues to rear its ugly head in the form of police shootings, flotillas of Rohingya refugees fleeing oppression in Myanmar, and the resurgence of anti-Semitism in Europe. Irrational beliefs, ones without supporting evidence or coherent arguments, are dooming animals like the rhinoceros to extinction. There are lucrative markets for the horns of these animals, even though there is no evidence for their medical efficacy. Last year in South Africa, 1,215 rhinos were slain to provide horns for this market. Today there are five northern white rhinos on this planet. 4 of them are female. 3 of them are in Kenya, 2 are in zoos. The outlook for that species is not very good. We are, in my view, tossing Mona Lisas on a bonfire when we allow millions of years of evolution to come to such an abrupt and senseless end. I could go on all day. Luckily for you, I was given about 8 minutes. The problems I describe here share a single common property. They are a consequence of irrational thought. Racism is irrational because trivial phenotypical differences between people are irrelevant for determining the worth and character of any person. Science tells us genetically we are a remarkably uniform species. Despite our various physical, superficial differences, we are remarkably similar to each other. Racism is therefore irrational, or illogical, as Spock might say. And I think we can make similar arguments about the bigotry that we see in the world against religious minorities, and the irrational hatred we see in some places directed at gays, lesbians, and transgendered people. Now, we are all human, so it's a bit of a big request to ask you to always be rational in every aspect of your life. But remember, Spock was partly human too. So it's an aspiration, it's a goal to try to achieve, even if we do not always find ourselves up to the task. If you've ever found yourself up late at night, watching an infomercial on TV, elbow deep in a bag of Oreos, you know, sometimes we don't quite get there. So I challenge you, when considering the important questions of our time, ask yourself, what would Spock do? Would Spock advocate or tolerate racism? Would Spock ignore scientific evidence for political expediency? You already know the answer. Each of us has a responsibility in a liberal democracy to reason carefully about the issues of the day. Don't be conned by politicians, ideologues, demagogues, and internet charlatans. Embrace your inner Spock. Individually and collectively, we need this now more than ever. So in closing, I'll leave you with the obvious salutation that's appropriate here from Spock himself. Live long and prosper.
Will the candidates for the various degrees and certificates please rise? With the degrees and certificates about to be conferred upon you, there comes a certain expectation that you will continue sincerely in the pursuit of learning and truth, and that as far as in you lies, you will promote the interests and welfare of your university. Do you acknowledge this expectation? Mr. Chancellor, as the candidates have acknowledged the responsibilities that accompany their degrees and certificates, and as they have successfully completed the courses of study prescribed by Senate, I would ask that you admit them to their several degrees and certificates.
It is my pleasure to admit you all. Congratulations. Please be seated.
Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor to present these candidates to receive a Doctor of Philosophy.
Paul Adachi, recipient of the Faculty of Social Sciences Graduate Board of Trustees Spirit of Brock Medal and the Jack M. Miller Excellence in Research Award. Julie Baker. Chloe Andrea Hamza, recipient of the Distinguished Graduate Student Award, PhD Psychology. Christine Lee Lackner.
Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor to ask Brock's most recent PhD graduates to take a seat on the stage with their colleagues. Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor to present these candidates to receive a Master of Applied Disability Studies.
Mina Ahi. Jamie Anson. Anitha Bala Kugan Nathan. Sarah Butekig. Marietta Kathleen Canfield. Renee Carrier. Justin Cho. Lindsay Collard. Amanda Cook. Rachel Cosme. Chauvin Doucette. Palin Iraktan. Erica Famularo. Nicole Franz. Alyssa Danielle Gagnon. Melissa Diane Gandolfo. Whitney Jacqueline Gregory. Hillary Grieve. Nicole Rebecca Joy Griffin. Erica Lynn Hamilton. Remy Elise Kirschenblatt. Shayna Lewin Wright. Amanda Rose Madrofsky. Ediana Othman. Krista Louise Pomeroy. Tara Raimondo. Stacy Ricks. Kelly Seemick. Nancy Silva, Aurelia Stefferta. Nicole Whitney Storms, Rosemary Tamburini, Alexandra Tapp, Yarlini Thana Balazingam. Julia Tran, Georgina Varelas Stapper. Rebecca Wagner, Melanie Victoria Willis. Laura Wright.
Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor to present these candidates to receive a Master of Arts.
Haider Al-Kalabi, Joshua Augustino. Jasmine Bender, Alexandra Cumming. Emily Patricia Deline, Rachel Desborough, recipient of the Distinguished Graduate Student Award, Political Science. Carolyn Drolet, Ashley Dunsey. Laura English, Daniel Gallant. Natalie Gauthier, Tina Marie Hardman. Blair Allison Hinsberger Fox, Michael Hinviz. Kelsey Ann Iannoni, Warren Jenkinson. Maida Kacharian, Judith Knight. Anoche Owusu Kwarteng. Emmanuel Kojo Kairme. Michael Craig Lydiard. Jennifer Lucking. Samantha Methler, Gulam Mashuk Mojadidi. Kevin Mulvihill, Catherine Patterson, recipient of the Distinguished Graduate Student Award, Social Justice and Equity Studies. Joshua Rebelkin, Sean Alexander Robb. Isaka Sai Abdul Hamid. Dustin Scholl. Elizabeth Sigrun Smith. Rosemary Solomon. Taylor Stanef Guno Tukwan. Kimberly Ann Wade. Samantha Watley. Thomas Wiersba.
Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor to present these candidates to receive a Master of Business Economics.
Goodness Dolotte Dutze. Eric Kofi Kontel. Nicole Minima. Moses Nti.
Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor to present this candidate to receive a graduate diploma.
Eva Maria Weber.
Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor to present these candidates to receive a Bachelor of Arts honors.
Doris Adam. Hajar Afrouz. Aitchison? Yeah. Okay. Rachel Rose Aitchison. Deanna Catherine Susan Allen, with first class standing, recipient of the Distinguished Graduating Student Award, Tourism and Environment. Eva Alouche, with first class standing. Teresa Marie Alonzi, with first class standing. Carrie Ann Ballin, with first class standing. Katrina Emma Heather Baxter Moore, with first class standing. Charlotte Jane Bouchamp, with first class standing, recipient of the Outstanding Contribution to Business Communication. And Charnel Bellevaux. Amber Nicole Book, with first class standing. Jillian Mariah Borsuk, with first class standing. Lauren Kathleen Boudreau with first class standing. Rayanne Jacqueline Briniak. Timothy Burnett. John Cahill.